Okay, and this is Board President Rob Cullen, and it is 6 o'clock. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can we do a roll call, please?
Sure. Vice President De La Rosa?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, here.
Alternate Vice President Lopez?
Here.
Director Cromings?
Here.
Director Lara?
Here.
Director Phillips?
Here.
Director Silva?
Here.
Director Tipton?
Present.
Director Villegas? Director Villegas? Absent. President Cullen?
Okay, and I am here. Hey, that was good. You all passed the test of the unmute and mute button. We've all gotten good at these virtual meetings.
That's a real challenge for Gloria and I, so we feel pretty good about that. You know?
Hey, you're coming along, Judge. Well, thank you all for joining. Thank you to the public for joining us. A couple of administrative stuff before we get started. First and foremost, a little bit of a different format on tonight's meeting. If you do wish to comment either once we get to public comment, or if you'd like to comment on an agenda item, the process would be to click the button to raise your hand, and then we'll call upon you at the appropriate time to speak. If you're dialed in by phone, the process would be to dial *9. *9 raises your hand and indicates to us that you would like to speak on an item. So you would first do *9, and then once you're called upon, you would do *6, and that would unmute yourself so that we can hear you. I'm also going to ask staff to provide a announcement regarding interpretation services for Spanish speakers.
Servicios de traducción están disponibles llamando al 1-425-436-6345. El código de acceso es el 444666.
Okay, thank you for doing that. And at this point in time, we will go to general manager comments, and I'll turn it over to Patrick, please.
Yeah, just a quick update. So yeah, COVID continues to be a challenge for us. We did finally have one case within the staff. Fortunately, that employee is doing very well. We'll be back to work hopefully a week or so, but the repercussions when there is an infection is that we do lose a number of people temporarily out of abundance of caution. So we're continuing to make ends meet. Though we may want to prod Caesar. I think he's a little tired from all the stress of having to constantly juggle staff, but we're staying up with it, and just reemphasizing the safety precautions to keep people safe. But the fact that we've gone 6 months till our first internal exposure, I think bodes well for the hard work of all the staff and supervisors to keep people conscious and focused on the health safety side of what we're doing. So that's all I have under GM comments for tonight.
Okay, thank you for that update. And yeah, I mean, the reality is the fact that we've gone this long without a staff member testing positive is a testament to the safety protocols that you've had in place. And Caesar, thank you for those protocols. And boy, yeah, to Patrick's comments, I can only imagine these last couple days and the pressure it's put on you. So thank you for what you've done on that. And then we'll jump into department manager comments. And Caesar, why don't you go ahead and start? You got any comments for us?
Just a real quick update on the Gloria Road, Iverson, Johnson Canyon project that is moving along quite nicely. Paving, I believe, started this week, yesterday, and it'll go through the end of the month. The initial lift is going down on Gloria Road, and they're going to be doing Johnson Canyon Road next week. So that project, the paving should be completed on this long-awaited project by the first week in October. The second lift should be all done, and then they'll work in October to finish up all the smaller items. But the big job, the paving job, should be completed by, I'm going to say, the beginning of October at the latest. So projects finally got here, and it's moving along quite nicely. So that's, and then just another heads up for the board, we will be closing the Johnson Canyon landfill a little early next Thursday at 2 p.m. instead of 4 p.m. And that's because we're going to tie in some pavement entrance work at the facility at Johnson Canyon, along with the Johnson Canyon paving project. So we're working with the county and Granite to accomplish that additional work on our property to improve our entrance facility as well. So just a quick heads up for the board.
Okay. Thank you,
Wonderful.
Caesar, for that. Let's go to Brian next. Brian, do you have anything for us?
I have no comments tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Ray, we'll go to you. Are you on, Ray?
I am on and I
Yeah,
have
okay.
no comments today.
Okay. Thank you. Mandy, do you have anything for us?
I do. I have a quick update. The flyer that you see on the screen here is a research opportunity flyer that we recently sent out to a couple of local universities. This is a way that we're trying to offer some local support on compost research, specifically for our local ag crops and carbon sequestration projects. So we're offering up access to land and compost to apply the compost to the land, and then do some additional research to help market some of our compost that we are now producing. So Gianna put this flyer together and sent it out, which looks like it's blanking out. But if you know of any students that are interested in any research opportunities, please have them contact us, or I can have Erica send out the flyer. It's also on our website, but just as an FYI. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Mandy. And yeah, if you could go ahead and send out that flyer, good old Adobe Acrobat. I've had that happen before where stuff comes up blank. So yeah, if you could email that out to the directors, I'd appreciate that. And I'm scanning through the list. Is there any other members of the authority staff that needs or wants to make a comment tonight? Okay, hearing none. Let's go to board director comments. I'm going to go ahead and go down the list on board directors. So I'll call you by name and we'll go ahead and start with Vice President Lopez. Do you have any comments tonight?
Just continued thanks to the staff as we continue to battle COVID and these fires. I know that we've had a lot of discussions offline just about what can be done, and I appreciate the prompt responses, the thorough investigation, and the honest dialogue that we're having. I know it's not easy for anybody, especially when we're sitting under orders and warnings still down here in South County. So I just want to say thank you to the staff for all that they're doing to help our community get through these difficult times. It's truly appreciated.
Thank you, Chris. And I think I either gave you a promotion or a demotion, depending on how you look at it. I think I just said Vice President. Chris Lopez is our alternate Vice President. Gloria, Vice President, do you have any comments tonight?
No, again, just thanking Patrick and the staff for all the good work that they're doing. And I know this isn't easy times for anybody, but yeah, just having one person infected, that is really good. I mean, the statistics are good. And I know you're doing everything to prevent transmission and the COVID prevention and everything that we're doing. So I wanted to make sure I thank you all.
Thank you. Director Phillips?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, you're doing a lot better than I did. I got a staff of 3 people and we had one about a month ago came up positive and we all had to go get tested and everything. So you're doing a remarkable job. I do want to say that we're with the COVID, we've seen trash problem even get worse with COVID. And so the county is using some of the COVID money to institute a trash pickup program even sooner than the ones that we've been working on to do. So I still get, even with all the other problems we have, I get more calls in my office about trash and trash on our highways and our byways more than anything else. So I appreciate all the work that our agency is doing to try to help alleviate that situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Villegas? Or do we have him? No, he's not. Okay, sorry. We'll go to Director Cromings.
Ditto.
Okay.
Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, Patrick, and the staff.
Well said. Director Silva?
I have to agree with my predecessors. Thank you to all staff for hanging in there. And none of us could have predicted this 6 months ago. And I'm getting a lot of feedback on my voice here, so I may leave and rejoin the meeting.
Yeah, on
Thank you.
our end, we hear you fine, just loud and clear. So, Director Lara?
No new comments, just echoing what everybody else already said. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Tipton?
I'll also echo what everybody else has said, but I'd also like to add one thing, and I think Judge Phillips kind of touched on it a little bit. Is we're seeing a lot down here of additional waste, particularly from masks and gloves. And I think, is there any way we could do a concerted effort to do release around that? Maybe put it out on the Salinas Valley Recycles pages and Facebook and all of that to make sure that they dispose of those correctly. I know the county has done one, and I saw some of the county work today, but I think we should be doing that as well as SVR.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I'm sure we can do some of that stuff via social media and some of those other things that you mentioned. So thank you, Director Tipton, for that. For me, I again will echo the sentiments relayed by the other directors. Thank you to the authority staff for all that you're doing. And then the other thing I want to just double check on with Patrick. Are we going into closed session tonight? Just want to double check.
No, we had nothing new come in this week. So at this point, we'll talk generally about the status of some of those issues, but no need for closed session tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I wanted to get that out now. So for the director's sake and the public's sake, we will not be going into closed session tonight. We're going to move on to to a public comment. So again, if you would like to comment, if you're on the Zoom platform, you would click the raise hand button. If you are dialed in by phone, you would do *9 to raise your hand. And I'm not sure if I'm able to see. I don't see anyone who's raised their hand, but I'll ask staff. Do we have anyone that's raised their hand?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. All right. And we will continue to monitor that. A reminder as we get into our agenda items, if you're on Zoom, click the raise hand button. If you're on the phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. That'll indicate that you want to speak, and you can do that at any point in time. So we'll go down to the consent agenda. We have 5 items on consent. Are there any directors that would like to pull an item from consent? Okay, hearing none. And have we had anyone raise a hand?
No, we do not.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for action. If you could state your name before taking the action, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent.
Phillips here, move approval.
Cromings, second.
All right, we got Phillips with the first. I'm going to give the second to Gloria. I think you beat Lopez by a hair.
And rightly so, you know.
Gloria, we're going to try to get your name on as many items as we can in your last couple months here. So, and just to make it clear on the vote, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chris.
Vice President De La Rosa,
Yes.
alternate Vice President Lopez,
Yes.
Director Cromings,
Yes.
Director Lara,
Yes.
Director Phillips,
Yes.
Director Silva,
Yes.
Director Tipton,
Yes.
and President Collins.
Aye, motion carries, and you guys passed your second test of doing the unmute button. So we'll go down to the presentation. This is item number 6, the annual franchise hauler performance report. And we're going to receive a report from Elia Zavala, contracts and grants analyst. I'll turn it over to you, Elia.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm glad to see some of your faces today and see the others' names on the screen. Yes, I will be providing to you the 2019 Franchise Waste Haulers Performance Report for 2019. And before I continue, can you hear me well? Because I've been having some issues with the sound.
Yep, we can hear you loud and clear, Elia.
All right, then let's continue. All right, so we every year we present the Haulers Performance Report as we provide contract administration services for the cities of Gonzales, Soledad, and Greenfield for their Tri-Cities Disposal and Recycling Franchise Agreement, and for the City of Kings Waste Management Agreement. The haulers collection data eventually becomes part of the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority regional reporting diversion rate to CalRecycle. So as we take a look at the data, we'll keep in mind that the state has a 50% diversion requirement and a 75% diversion goal by 2020. So it is 2020, so we'll see how we're doing. We'll be taking a look again at the sectors, residential and commercial tonnage, and by collection service, which is recycling, organics, and trash. Here we added this year this new chart to take a look at not only when tonnage increases or decreases, but as to take a look at the customer count as well, to keep that into perspective. For 2019, we have a 1% increase for Tri-Cities Disposal. If you can see, there's their commercial, Tri-Cities had a slight decrease in their commercial sector and an increase in their residential sector. We have waste management pretty much stayed steady for 2019 for commercial, and residential saw an increase as well. So I know that there was a pretty significant increase in 2018 for waste management, and that was due to mostly there was a mobile home park at that time that went from shared dumpster to residential carts. So that was a big impact for that year. Okay, here we have the, taking a look at the data now, we have residential services. We have waste management collected 5,347 tons of material, of which 66% was trash, 12% was recycling, and 22% was green waste. Now looking at Tri-Cities, they collected 18,805 tons, of which 59% was trash, 19% was recycling, and 22% was green waste. As you can see, they both have 22% in green waste, and waste management collected a little bit less recycling than Tri-Cities this year. Overall, waste management had a 34% diversion rate, and Tri-Cities had a 41% diversion. Now we'll take the same data, but taking a look at the 3 years worth of data, we can see the trends of the collection service. In recycling, we have residential increased by 3% in recycling for Tri-Cities. And we have waste management in green. They decreased their recycling by 17%. Green waste, we have Tri-Cities increased by 10%, and waste management increased by 22%. As you can see, green waste had both increases for both haulers. And then trash also increased for both haulers for residential collection, with a 2% increase for Tri-Cities and a 4% for waste management. We have, okay, same data, now taking a look at the commercial sector. Waste management in King City collected 6,329 tons, which 86% was trash, 9% was recycling, and 3% was green waste. Tri-Cities, 82% was trash, 11% recycling, and 7% was green waste. The overall diversion for commercial sector is waste management netted at 14%, which actually was a 4% decrease from last year. And Tri-Cities has an 18% diversion. One of the major reasons that we believe that Waste Management had a reduction in recycling is because they did roll out a Recycle Right campaign that may have contributed to individuals doing their recycling correctly and therefore not putting some of their trash into their recycling containers. They also did a lot of the contamination tagging and education to help customers understand what is and what is not recyclable. So that could have made an impact there. Okay, same data for commercial, taking a look at the 3-year trends. As we can see, recycling for the past 3 years has been slowly decreasing for both sectors, especially for Tri-Cities. We had for 2019 a decrease of 9% for Tri-Cities in recycling and a 32% decrease in commercial recycling for waste management. And green waste, we had Tri-Cities a -1% and waste management a 16%. I apologize, with all these numbers, I'm getting confused. Trash, we had a slight difference here. We had a decrease for Tri-Cities commercial and an increase for waste management for 2019. So here's a diversion summary. It's for 2019, again, it's just a summary. Residential pretty much staying the same for Tri-Cities and waste management over last year. And commercial for Tri-Cities was pretty much the same as well, with a decrease for waste management and commercial diversion. Okay, so here we come to how this plays a part into the regional diversion report that the Solid Waste Authority submits to the state on behalf of the cities. So the haulers data becomes part of the regional reporting. And per the state, Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority as a reporting agency is supposed to produce 12.4 pounds per person per trash. Pounds of trash per person per day. So in order to achieve the 15% diversion target, a person must only produce half of that trash. That makes sense. So now we have here just a quick comparison of the 2017, 2018, and 2019, and how we measured up to the 50% diversion rate. And as you can see, we have been increasing our trash collection this year. According to the preliminary state report, our region produced 5.4 pounds per person per day of trash. So we're producing more trash, which means that, diversion rate is going down, unfortunately. But having said that, we are still within the 50% diversion rate requirement. Okay, so we also want to touch a little bit on the efforts that the haulers have done throughout the years on public outreach to educate the community on how to recycle and to be environmentally conscious about the impacts to our environment. Tri-Cities Disposal does, as well as Waste Management, has cleanups in the community, and they also provide other services throughout the year. They do contribute to different partnerships, such as the Central Coast Recycling Media Coalition, which is commercials that are aired on television and radio, and as well as participate with the What Goes Where app and others. There's just a quick snapshot on the different activities that the haulers also provide us besides collection of waste materials. Okay, so mandate compliance. I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of mandates that the waste haulers have are participating to assist in compliance for the cities. The mandate 340, AB 341, commercial mandatory recycling. And here's a breakdown on how the haulers have done as far as helping the businesses reach compliance. For AB 341, we'll look at Tri-Cities. They decreased by 1%, and that sometimes usually has to do with, you know, businesses leaving, coming in and going out, so the numbers change a little bit. Multifamily complexes remain the same. And AB 1826, which is the commercial organics recycling, Tri-Cities had an increase. It's now at 12% of their businesses are compliant, and their multifamily complexes for organics recycling are up to 72% compliant. Waste management, same numbers. They also had an increase in their customer compliance for business mandatory recycling and multifamily complex recycling. There was no change for 2019 for their organics recycling, and mostly there's waiting for a facility to be able to take some of their material too. Okay, next slide. Okay, so in conclusion, I know this was a lot of data that we kind of cram into one presentation, but the haulers are meeting their obligations. This past year, there was an increase in green waste collection and increased in residential collection. Unfortunately, lower diversion rates. And there was a Recycle Right education that both haulers rolled out to help with the different changes in the recycling market and to educate the community. There was definitely progress in the mandate compliance, and there will be a focus on the food waste collection planning. There was a focus this year. Tri-Cities Disposal will be starting a food waste collection pilot project pretty soon. So that's still underway for the coming year. Okay, that concludes my presentation unless anybody has any questions.
Great, thank you, Ellie. Appreciate all that information. What I'd like to do before we go to director comments and questions, I know I see at least one of the haulers on the line here, and if any of the haulers would like to make a comment, add anything, this is your chance. So I think you can either unmute yourself and announce who you are, or you can click on the raise hand button. But would any of the hauler representatives like to speak before we go to director comments?
Good evening, Chair Cullen and the board. This is Felipe Melcher with Waste Management. Yes, one of our big impacts that Alia discussed was the smart truck technology that we're using in the trucks, which identifies, takes a photo, it's being evaluated, what's recyclable, what's not recyclable. And I think that the material that we're producing is very clean. It's been shown through some audits. So we're excited about the technology and then continue to move forward with recycling and the recycling reduction requirements of the state. Thank you.
Good, thank you, Felipe. And yeah, that's it's an interesting aspect on those smart trucks where we're having cleaner stuff going in, but it has impacted our diversion rate. And hopefully over time, as there's more education amongst our residential and commercial clients, that it will increase that diversion rate. Are there any other franchise hauler partners on the line that would like to speak?
How you guys doing? It's Tom Parola with Tri-Cities Disposal. I just wanted you guys to let you know I'm here and available if you have any questions. You know, you expect a little bit of a decrease in recycling because of the markets just simply are kind of drying up. So it's really no fault of anybody but the market. So that's all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. I'm going to go to board discussion comment. I'll go down the list and call you by name. And if you got nothing to say, just let us know. But otherwise, just to make it a little bit more orderly, I will go down the list and we'll start with Vice President De La Rosa, please.
I have none. A very good presentation, Elia.
Thank you. Alternate Vice President Lopez,
No comments. Thank you.
Director Phillips,
No comment, but a very good presentation. Thank you.
Director Cromines,
No comment. Thank you.
Director Silva,
No comments. Great report.
Director Lara,
No comment.
Director Tipton.
Great report, but I do have one question.
Yes,
I
please.
know that Waste Management services other parts of the unincorporated county other than King City. Does this include that information, or is this just specific to King City?
This is just specific to King City.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Great report.
Thank you.
And you know what, Elia, either Elia or Patrick or anyone else, can you, because we have some members of the public and such, can you give a little bit of information as to why this data does not include the unincorporated county?
Well, it's primarily because the unincorporated county actually covers two districts. It covers the authority and Monterey Regional Waste Management District. And so they report independent because that contract is managed within the Environmental Health Department and not overseen by either our agency or the district. So they manage, oversee, and administer that contract independent of the authority.
Great, thank you. And if any directors have any follow-up comments or questions, feel free to unmute yourself and you can interrupt me. That's fine. Otherwise, I'm going to ask if we've had anyone raise their hand from the public for comment.
No public comment.
Okay. Then this item is on for information only. So thank you again. Thank you, Elia, for putting that data together. Especially appreciate the kind of filling in some of those gaps as an example, that notion of the smart trucks and such and why that had an impact on things. So moving on to the next item, we're on a fun item. Fun items are always fun. So we're on item number 7, which is a recycling recognition. And I'm going to turn it over to Mandy.
Thank you, President Cullen. I'm actually going to quickly turn it over to Estella because I can't take any credit for this recognition. This is all due to the hard work of our staff, Estella and Darlene, as well as the Alisal Union School District. This is our first zero waste school recognition. This is Jesse Sanchez School in Salinas. And I know the way that kids are going to school these days is a little different, but they did put in a lot of hard work right before COVID hit. So they were also recognized by our state association with an award. So we're very, very excited. And with that, I will turn it over to Estella to give you guys a presentation.
Yes, good evening. And I'm happy to see everyone, and I'm happy to recognize Jesse Sanchez. They did an amazing job, and also because Elia just touched on all of the mandates that we have to comply, because basically Jesse Sanchez was in compliance with all of the laws that Elia mentioned, and I'm gonna talk about a little bit. So next slide. So tonight we are so happy to recognize Jesse Sanchez and for being the first zero waste school in the Salinas Valley. And on the line, I think we have the principal, Roberto Rodriguez, and the director of food services, Irene Vargas. They were the main key component from the school to make everything happen. Next. So Jesse Sanchez and basically the whole school district, Alisal School District, has been always on the path to zero waste because the Alisal School District is the only school district in the Salinas Valley that they still have commercial dishwashers and commercial kitchens. So they use reusable trays for breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, supper, and basically for any events that they have, they always use reusable trays. And also because they have the passion, and also because they understand, you know, to be a zero waste and to reduce the garbage. That is actually a good thing when you do the right thing. Next. So this is the example that they use. Jesse Sanchez has never used this disposable trays. So they were using around 1,000 reusable trays daily because, as I told you, they use it for breakfast, second chance breakfast, they use it for lunch and supper. So these are all of the the sustainable programs that they implemented. So basically it was six programs that they make them to become a zero waste. Next. So the first thing that they did, and this was amazing. So Irene Vargas from the school district, they implemented the traveling apple policy. So basically what it is that the students, if they didn't finish a whole apple or a grain or something that it comes in a bag, it could be vegetable or grain, or they can eat it in a later time, and even they can take it home and eat it at home. And one of the things that they implemented in the cafeteria was a sharing rack. So if you see all of the different colors, is because they have a meaning. So on the bottom, if you see on the photo to the left, on the bottom, you see like a black box. Inside, that's where they collect all the milk. So the milk, whatever, all the milk that they didn't open, it gets in that box. And the cafeteria staff, they come and take it back to the kitchen right away. So so the kids for the next grade that are coming, they can reuse it or take it. So another thing that they have is the one on the top for the green is basically whole apples, whole fruits, all vegetables that come in package, it goes there. And the one on the yellow is for all the grains. Next. Another great program, and I have to say this, thank you to Irene and the principal, because not only they implemented the zero waste program, but they have the best looking quality recycling bins. So we have been in the business for a long time, and usually no one has money to buy all of this equipment. And this district say, yes, we're gonna buy whatever we need. So they bought these best looking containers. So the one that that you see is for milk waste diversion. So the kids come and empty leftover milks, and at the end of the day, the custodian just go and dump the leftover milk in the drain. But another thing that you're gonna see a lot of where you're gonna see a data next in a little bit, but they only throw away 60 pounds of milk waste, so which is very little compared to other schools that they're throwing away an average of 200 or 400 pounds of milk waste per day. Next. So another program that they implemented is the milk carton. So now the kids, after they drink all their milk, they have a place where they recycle all the milk cartons. Next. So, and this is the first school that they actually implemented a food waste program. So in the Salinas Valley, basically that was the only school that had a food waste program before COVID-19. So they had a commercial program through Republic Services. And so one of the great things is when we implemented the program, Republic Services sponsored the food waste pickup for 2 weeks, because we did like a trial first. And then after that, Irene from the district, she took over the payments for the food waste, and they were diverting around 135 pounds of food waste per day. Next. Another great thing that we implemented before COVID-19, it was they were using now reusable sporks. So Salinas Valley Recycle, we sponsor 1,320 reusable sporks, and Irene bought everything that he needed for the sport collection and the washing and everything else that he needed. And by doing that, we eliminated almost 1,000 disposable plastic sporks, and also the straws daily. Next. So in order to implement this zero waste program at the school, Salinas Valley Recycle staff went to the school to train the students for almost 3 weeks. We actually went and did a presentation for the faculty, cafeteria staff, custodians, and the students. Another great thing that the principal did is he did a group of students, the 5th grade students, who were taking the lead to educate everyone during lunchtime. And how you see in that photo, you can see that we have different bins and different setup, because in that period of 3 weeks before to get the perfect zero waste station, it took us like 10 different bins. We tried one day, we tried another one the second day, until we found the perfect zero waste station that worked for everyone. Next. So if you see the data here, sorry, let me see if I can move this away. So you can see that 77% of the cafeteria waste was being diverted, and only 23 was going to the landfill. And also this is a great achievement for Jesse Sanchez, because it's the second largest schools in Salinas. It has almost over 800 students, and all of them were participating. And you can see all the data from the waste assessment. So there were all the diversion rates. Next. So if you want to see how we did it indoors, so basically when we work with the custodians, he basically agreed to all of the containers that he liked the most, and then those are the indoor waste management, the way we did it, and how it was taken for collection outside. Next. So just by implementing this program, I remember Irene and I, we used to go maybe around 9:30 p.m. I remember those nights, and we used to go to the garbage area to see how full the garbage bin was, to make sure we can reduce the garbage and increase recycling. And because we were taking the food waste away, we wanted to know how much capacity of the garbage dumpster was not being used. And just by going, we went like 5 days around 9:30 p.m. We were able to reduce the garbage capacity. And even though we increased recycling and we set up food waste, the school was going to be the school was going to save almost $8,000 per year. So that's a lot of money just by doing and implemented all of the programs. Next. So this is just so you can see when we went in with Jesse Sanchez, that's when they first applied for the Wally Waste Not at Work program, and they were required to do a waste assessment. If you see the photo in 2017, that those were all the items that they were throwing away, almost 132 milk cartons, a lot of pizza packs, and they were throwing away about 190 sporks packs, a lot of kiwis. And then when we went back and do a second waste assessment in 2019, they didn't have none of the programs, but the only thing that they did is that the principal was basically in the cafeteria during lunch, telling all the kids, if they're not gonna eat, or if they're not gonna drink the milk, don't take it. If you're not gonna eat something, just don't take it. Just take what you're gonna eat. And then by 2020, that's when they implemented the sharing rack. And now, because all of this was under the policy, the kids can take the fruit and vegetables and grains home. Next. So this is just the data. You can see all the reductions in pounds, and by looking at the food waste, of the milk, at the recycling, milk cartons and everything. So it was a reduction of almost 263 pounds over the years that they were reducing milk waste, they were reducing food waste and everything else, that were increasing recycling. Next. So the chart basically show you what they did. So see, in 2017, they were almost throwing away 606 pounds of garbage. And by 2020, they have reduced to almost half of that waste when they implemented all the programs. Next. And also because all of these programs that they implemented, the California Resource Recovery Association presented Jesse Sanchez for being the 2020 Outstanding School Recycling Program. They were nominated and they won across California. So they are basically the school who has the best program, the best recycling program. And also next. So I want to ask everybody from our team if they can maybe unmute, and I want to see your face so we can congratulate Jesse Sanchez, Irene Vargas, and Roberto. And just say thank you.
Yay!
Congratulations. Board can join in too. Thank you.
Congratulations. And I think Irene and Roberto are on the line. I don't know if they want to say something, but we just love them because before COVID-19, they were our sample that we were gonna take, and we had it in the plans with Irene to do the same program in all of the ALISA schools. So hopefully after everything passes, we're gonna go back and help them to comply with the law and to implement all of these programs. Thank you.
Well, very good, Estelle. I appreciate that presentation. I'm going to add a couple comments first, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Vargas and Mr. Rodriguez. I electronically signed these certificates, and I'm signing it and it going, all right, zero waste school. Well, that's pretty cool, and just signing it. And now I'm watching the presentation. I am blown away. I mean, to literally be a zero waste anything is just absolutely amazing. And so on behalf of the entire board, congratulations to you both, to your school, and to all the people that contributed, and including our staff that worked hard to help with that implementation. So on behalf of the board, to Ms. Vargas and Mr. Rodriguez, thank you very much. What I'd like to hear, I'd like to hear any comments that you want to add, but specifically if you could tell us what some of the biggest challenges that you had in implementing some of these things, as well as how the students embraced it. And specifically, I saw there that the fifth graders provided a lot of leadership within the school. And so if you could speak to that as well. I see Ms. Vargas, you had raised your hand. So why don't you go ahead and go first?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for this great opportunity. And I would like to say first, Estella and her team did an awesome job. And this was a program that I knew we had to implement, didn't know where to start. And then I listened to some students at Montebella about how concerned they were about the waste. So that's when I started implementing the share racks, and I had them do a training video. And in the training video, I showed, we started implementing it, and then Stella showed up at one of our schools in Steinbach. And then I started learning what she was doing, and I heard about those grants. Then I told her, she goes, my next stop is Jesse Sanchez. I said, this would be something that I would like to see, because the issue that I had getting this off the ground was how are we going to train the students? And she offered her services and volunteered to be there. And I think it was more than 3 weeks. I think it was 4, to show our students how this would work. And the students embraced it. And of course, with Mr. Rodriguez's leadership, and he was so determined to get rid of those sporks. And it was mind-blowing to see what we were seeing, some of the results, the participation from the students. I got a vendor involved where we can buy some of this equipment. Of course, that's something that I can spend funds on with my program. And it was a huge success that we are definitely going to continue this program at all the sites. And I know Mr. Rodriguez took it to another level, did some assemblies, but I'm going to let him explain how he got the whole school community involved.
Thank you, Ms. Vargas. Again, I want to thank Salinas Valley Recycling for the opportunity. I really am in debt with Estela. She's just an awesome person. Actually, she's the one that did the hard work. It was a lot easier for us, at school, and also Ms. Irene Vargas for her support in helping us out with this venture. I was, as a principal before this, like she mentioned, in 2017, we applied for this grant. And that's when I really became aware of, just how much food was going to waste, and specifically milk. At that time, policies dictated that if a student grabbed a milk carton, they couldn't return it. So if they didn't drink it as soon as they touched it, it had to go to the waste. So it was just mind blowing to me to see that, and it's just painful to see all those milk cartons, unopened going to the trash. So I started to implement talking to the kids, and it wasn't required for the students to take the milk. So then I made it start talking to students, don't take it if you don't drink it, because they thought they had to take everything. So that started helping out, and then students knew that they didn't have to take that, until eventually the policy changed where now students didn't have to take it, or they can share it, or we can return the milks for a later time. But that's how I started. And again, but it opened my eyes through that assessment that Estela's organization helped us with, and I noticed just how much waste. And then from there, every year we started implementing, educating the students, and just being more cautious with what they were taking, being more responsible as well, and it helped out. And then this opportunity came to implement this awesome program. And again, it made it easy with the support of Estela and Ms. Vargas, because they were there, whatever we need, whatever we do, for us to help us out. The students, they're great. They're easy to work with. They understand why we're doing it. They were concerned because they heard, I guess, a story about straws and turtles. So that was their thing. They were saving the turtles because of now the straw. So, starting like that, educating our students with what they're familiar with. So that was how we started off. And then there's students who really, enjoyed the program, and they said, can we help? Can we help the little ones? So that's how we started getting this group of fifth graders who would support everybody else. But, talking to the teachers as well, talking to the students, doing a couple assemblies to let them know what the process was going to be. It made it easier. Of course, it took the time because we were switching cans and different bins to make it easier. So kids were at times were like, okay, where's the black can we had yesterday? Now it's green. So that was, a little bit things. But now after we had it all set, it was great. I truly thank Estela for those reusable sports, because those other ones were driving me crazy, as Irene said, those little plastic ones. But so that was great to have. And I was just looking forward to this program. And then unfortunately we had to, stop it because of the pandemic. But I was looking forward. There were so many other things that thanks to Ms. Vargas, department was going to bring in more other tools to help us with that. But overall, I think, I was excited with the program, looking forward to, I can't wait to continue again when the students are back. And I just can't thank enough the support of, Estela and Ms. Vargas with this program. Our staff were happy, our students were happy, they were used to it. I even have little 4-year-olds already, separating their food, doing it, going to the waste, to the recycle, to the milk, as early as that, and they can do it. So, it's just working with them. But again, I was a little bit disappointed that we couldn't continue because of this pandemic, because I was just excited with what the results we were having. And again, I hope that we can continue this as soon as we get back. But again, thank you, Estela, thank you, Ms. Vargas, and again, thank you to all of you for supporting our school.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. I appreciate those comments. And it's interesting. It's easy for all of us to get ourselves down on the pandemic on many levels. But one thing that's neat is that all of those things that those students learned, we can all guarantee that they're implementing some of those things in their households, and that has a lasting impact. You teach a kid, they're going to teach their parents, they're going to teach their siblings, they're going to teach their grandparents and their extended family. It's a beautiful thing. I have to also chuckle when you talk about the turtles and the straws. My daughter is now in 6th grade, but when she had that presentation and when her school went through the waste assessment a few years ago, I remember her talking about the turtles and the straws. And now in our household, we haven't had a reusable or a plastic straw in our house for a few years now. We have a lot of reusable straws. So it's things like that our kids learn, absorb, take passion and ownership over, and they then teach those that are around them. So again, kudos to you. Darlene, I see that your hand's up. Would you like to add a comment, please?
Yeah, I mean, as the newest part of the team for resource recovery, this was a really great learning opportunity for me. I know Estela has been in the field for such a long time, so being able to learn and really get that hands-on experience was really great. And it was really inspiring to see what great champions Ms. Vargas and Mr. Rodriguez were, because really without that leadership and that support to spearhead this type of project, it's really difficult on our end to make it successful, because I mean, Wally Waste has been around for a really long time, and this is, you know, it took a really long time to get somebody who was that committed really to making this type of change. And the really great thing about it is that once you have one success story, it's then easier to inspire others to also believe that it's achievable, that it's really attainable. And a really big part of it too was the support of the campus supervisors. Really, you know, it was great leadership, but also everybody else on the team was very cooperative. And so just overall, Jesse Sanchez was really deserving of this award, and we're excited to hopefully within a year, or I don't know, in the near future, hopefully continuing with our plans to spread this to the other schools and hopefully other districts, and because of the statewide recognition, also being an example for just all this.
Absolutely, well said. Jesse Sanchez School is definitely a model for not just the schools within our service area, but across the state again. If any board of directors would like to make a comment, please go ahead and click on the raise hand button. I will make mention again that that on behalf of the entire board, thank you, congratulations, and I'll turn it over to Director Phillips. He has raised his hand. Go ahead, Director Phillips.
Did he?
You're on mute, Director Phillips.
Gloria jinxed me here. So I do think this is a critical part of education. And to me, it's as important as trigonometry and geometry and English for second language. And I gotta say, and I've mentioned this before, but my generation, I think, was the worst at this. My folks, my dad was born in 1907 and my mom in 2009, and they went through the Depression, and they were the best recyclers of anybody. We recycled everything, and we didn't throw away anything. And we always had a compost pile that I used to grumble about doing. And I just reacted to that, but I became the throwaway generation. And it's only in the last 20 or 30 years that you started really reflecting, well, we got to do better on that, on it. And I think that this educational component for our young people is critical. And I really commend them. What a remarkable project that they had. So I just want to commend that. So thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Director Phillips. Director Lopez.
I just want to echo all of Supervisor Phillips's comments, but also on my behalf, I want to thank the leadership that got this done. And often we talk about what does it take to actually make change? And it takes somebody willing to invest the time and the effort. And obviously the kids were leaders, but Mr. Rodriguez and your entire team at the school being willing to engage and to take this on. When you stand outside of a monumental task like this and you look in on it, it's really hard to figure out what that first step is. And so just starting down the road, I think you're an incredible example of what can be accomplished when you take that first step and keep moving in the right direction. And California-wide recognition is something that's greatly deserved. So thank you so much for putting us on the map in this regard. I know we do incredible things as an organization, but we can't do that without every single person doing their part. And you guys now have helped put us on the map as just one more shining example. And those kids and their engagement is such a critical part of it. So please pass on our gratitude to them. And thank you for being willing to lead on this effort.
Will do. Thank you for those words. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yes.
Thank you, Director Lopez. To staff, has any members of the public indicated they would like to speak on this item?
No, no members from the public.
Okay.
can-
Again, oh,
I'm sorry.
yes, Director De La Rosa, please.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Rodriguez. This is City Councilwoman Gloria De La Rosa from Salinas. And I want to thank you and Ms. Vargas. And I want to thank all the students and also our staff. Blanca, right? Yeah. I want to thank Mandy and all her staff. And we have wonderful staff that, like you said, she really does a good job and she loves what she does. So I think the combination of all of you working together, that this is what made it happen to reach those young students, because they have a teacher and she's so good at what she does and presents this to the schools, and we see nothing but good things come out of all this. And what is it? The education, our future, the children, their learning. So thank you again.
Thank you, Director De La Rosa. If any other directors would like to make a comment, please click on the raise hand button. And otherwise, congratulations. Thank you again. And keep on keeping on. All right, we'll go ahead and go to the next agenda item, please. And that is, we're on agenda item number 8, the 2019-2020 Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority Annual Report. Patrick, you need to make this presentation more exciting than the previous one. No pressure.
I'm going to drop the mic then, because no, actually, well, I can tell you there's only 2 things that really excite me the most working here, and that's presenting the annual report, which is the culmination of all the great work that our staff has done. It's a chance for us to brag about their hard work, but also to honor all the board members, the cities, our stakeholders in the community, and people like the Jesse Sanchez School and Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Vargas. It's great work. And when we see people like that step up and take the leadership, because things happen when the leadership takes things seriously, because that's the trickle down theory. So it's great to see that. And we hope to use them as our shining example to encourage other schools and communities to do this. And of course, the second thing I'm always excited about is the audit, but I won't bore you with my audit thrills tonight. But I will go through this. I won't be spending a lot of time on each page. It's 32 pages, so I'll be here all night. You know, I like to talk. So I'll just hit each page, do a little highlight. Of course, the cover is just really a compilation of pictures. We focused a lot on the kids this year and the things that we did with the tours and bringing kids into our garden where Stella and staff teach composting and vermicomposting. Then the next page is really our just sort of a summary of the operations, where our facilities are, how to contact us, and just a few quick highlights of the authority and their staff. Next, please. Table of contents. Again, you'll see lots of pictures in here. Are honoring the departed board member and Mayor Gunter. I think that's was a difficult thing for everybody in this community, and we do miss his leadership and the things he brought to the community. So the next 2 pages are really my personal notes to the community and the board. And I'll just stop here for really one highlight. Of course, we had a couple major projects. The new Module 7, which is always a big event for solid waste agencies when they build a new landfill cell. It's a major undertaking, but most importantly, the completion and commissioning of our organics facility. It's up and running. We're making compost, as Mandy said earlier. We're starting to do some market testing and other things, and we'll be delivering our first loads here in the next month. So that's a very exciting time. But really the biggest highlight I always like to focus on is really some of the underlying goal of this agency, and one of the things we've been working on for really over a decade. And that's to really start to model, not just within our industry, but as government in general, how to run more like a business. Really looking at the things around accrued liabilities. And I think the board's leadership and decision process over the years have really created what I think is a really solid model for how to be sustainable financially, how to weather downturns like we're feeling today. And so I spent a considerable amount of time in my notes, comments to really talk a little bit about that. And we'll be hearing more next month when the audit comes forward. Go forward, please. We've talked a little bit about the agency itself, giving people background about who we are, how we're formed, what our mission and vision and values are, which are approaching their 10th year since board adoption. Actually, it is our 10th year. And so I think these really are our guiding principles for how we do business in this community. Next, please. And of course, again, honoring our board members and all the work you do and the commitment you make to both support us when you're out in the community and also to provide feedback and input through the ups and downs of the agency. And I deeply appreciate that, and we want to recognize that as well. Next 2 pages are really just our board highlights. You get these every month, usually within about a week or so after the board meeting. Erica provides those, and so this is a highlighted version of the highlights to give people an overview of the actions and activities of the board during our meetings through the course of the year. Then, of course, we have our people, our greatest asset. It's not our facilities, it's not our landfill, it's the people and the commitment that we have, and really we can't honor them enough. And in this time that we're experiencing now and the challenges with COVID, I can't even say enough about how hard these people work right now, and they continue to come to work and do it day after day. And when you're down 5, 6, 7, 8 staff, even if it's temporary for a few days while we make sure people are safe, they still come back, they still keep things running, and they still keep the public services going. And you can't say enough about it. A few of our employee accomplishments, as well as some of our departmental accomplishments. We'd like to highlight those things. We give out awards every year for longevity, and we had an outside event with all of our employees at Sun Street to provide those awards, and had a small lunch for them, and just wanted to honor these people in lieu of our normal all-employee meeting that we usually have in August, which we've had to curtail this year. Overview of our budget, last year's budget and the newly approved budget for this year, just so people can see sort of how their money is spent, where it goes, and where our revenues come from. Overview of our capital improvements, the things that were completed during the course of this year, as well as the budgeting process that the board completed to approve additional funding for projects for this current year. The statistics, of course, you saw some of those tonight with Elia's presentation, but this is more of the overall statistics for the agency, how much is coming in from each of our members, as well as some long-term historical data for our tonnage. Again, our diversion tonnage, and we've broken that down by each member agency and what types of materials and how those things were diverted. And again, this is diversion. It's only a diversion associated with authority activities. On top of this, of course, you have the the diversion that's going on at the curbside with our member partners, franchise haulers, as well as other partner operations out in the community, like the food bank, who are diverting materials on their own as well. Again, just some additional operational background, number of trips. As you can see, our facilities continue to attract more and more customers every year. The demand is growing and the services are growing. And I think this is all really due to a whole variety of things, but really it's the commitment to customer service that our staff does that really continues to bring people back every year, every month, every week to use our services because they appreciate the hard work our staff does for them. Here's an overview of some of the grants we've received, both current ongoing grants and some of the new ones. You've seen most of these throughout the year, but we continue, and that's one of Elia's side jobs, is to try to find new grants and new money for us, and that work continues, and hopefully we'll see some more this year. Now, of course, the new programs, our Depackager has become a very popular program with the ag community. We're continuing to get more and more materials coming in. The board approved some additional equipment at the end of last year, allows us to do mixing and other things with our green salsa. So very, very excited to see that. As a garbage geek, it thrills me to see technology that can make our job easier and really provide a service that was not being provided in the county prior to this. So we're excited about that program and all the new facility operations we have. Of course, here's the compost facility. We're looking forward to having a grand opening sometime when it's appropriate, but I would definitely encourage the board, if any of you are interested in going out and seeing the facility, taking a tour. We're still offering small group tours to go out and sort of see the new operations that we have going on. So, of course, I already spoke about this. Is our Module 7 completed this year, began operation, full operation this spring. And of course, the list of all the different materials that we accept at the landfill for diversion on top of just things that go in the landfill. You'll hear a little more about this. This is our marketing program, so I won't steal Jana's thunder, but we do an incredible amount of marketing, both English and through the Spanish media markets, and a lot of it's really starting to pay off. No words to be said about Jesse Sanchez School and the great work that they did this year, so we wanted to highlight that in our annual report as well. Little overview of some of our community programs, the work we've been doing with the food bank, not only supporting them with infrastructure and trucks, but also working on programmatic things, participating in other community things that help educate the community and raise awareness on recycling and reuse, the Trash and Show, the O'Neill Sea Odyssey program, and of course our Rock City Juggler, who goes out to the schools and is continuing to do that through COVID via electronic presentation. So we're getting a little more for a little more money out of that contract in terms of the number of presentations because he's not traveling. He's able to do those presentations from his home. Again, facility tours, just highlighting a lot of the things we do in the community programs that we participate in cleanups, as well as our composting workshops. I think you heard some of this already from Estella around our waste assessments and recycling implementation programs. You're going to be seeing, very soon, a lot of work around organics recovery and recycling under SB 1383. The draft ordinances and franchise agreements and all the supporting documents we've been waiting for were released a couple of days ago. And so the exciting news is the good, bad, or ugly is there's a lot of work in front of us, but we now have some of the tools from the state that we've been waiting for that will allow us to start moving these programs forward with all of our jurisdictions. Next slide, please. You've heard about Wally Waste Not and heard a little bit of it tonight. Of course, this is our another way of our encouragement of encouraging education of our kids, making recycling part of their rote life. Just like brushing your teeth, you've got to recycle too. And Wally Waste Not program offers the schools an opportunity to be more hands-on with that, in both in learning and activities. And of course, the dreaded list of regulatory mandates. I think we added this year to really just emphasize that there's a lot of stuff coming down from the state and has been for the last, I'm going to date myself here, 32 years since AB 939. And all of these bills, as well as the follow-up and cleanup legislation that follows every time a bill is, a major bill like this is approved, these are the bills that drive the work that we and you as board members do every day. We can talk about the fact that most are unfunded. We are an enterprise fund, and of course, the expectation is that we fund these, and we're doing everything we can to be as cost effective and sustainable in the way we roll these programs out to always be cost conscious for the ratepayer. These are again just an outline of the various services we provide, from a collection of sharps and mattresses and carpet, e-waste, household batteries, antifreeze, batteries, oils and paint, HHW, just the list goes on. These are all programs being funded through our AB 939 fee as part of our obligations to provide these services to the community. Little outline is, of course, our staff, our household hazardous waste staff. Our permanent facility is in Salinas, and of course we have what we call ABOP, or antifreeze battery oil paint facilities at both Johnson Canyon and Malone Road. If you scroll down just a little bit to go to the bottom, I wanted to show them the number about how many pounds of HHW we collect each year. Can you scroll down just a little? There we go. So 1.5 million pounds of hazardous waste were handled and came through that facility and managed by these 4 individuals. So you can imagine the amount of work they do, not only at the Sun Street permanent facility, but the community cleanups and servicing and handling the materials that were being collected at the other 2 authority facilities as well. Then looking ahead, this is just really sort of a summary of where we are today and trying to work with the city of Salinas to come up with a better alternative to Sun Street. The work goes on, but as it does, we continue to see increasing trips and reliance on our services. And this year we exceeded 100,000 customer trips to Sun Street this year, which even to this day, I don't know how staff does that, because it's just an amazing amount of people. And of course, a lot of these were because of COVID, people at home and deciding they had nothing else to do, they were going to clean out the garage. And as much as we tried to dissuade people from coming out during the early months of COVID, it didn't really stop them. People just needed something to do. And so we got a lot of small trips to the transfer station and the landfill this year. Next slide, please. Our service area really is pretty substantial. 2,400 square miles. It includes everything basically on the 101 corridor, from Prunedale, Pajaro, Santa Cruz, San Mateo County, all the way down to San Luis Obispo County. And finally, just a little summary of some written comments that we've received from various individuals in the community, schools, people that have visited the site. And we're just really happy to see the work that our staff is doing to help them and to educate them as well. I think that is the last page. So that is a very quick overview, as quick as I could do it. But if anybody has any questions, myself and staff are free to answer those questions. And of course, if you see any glaring edits, word processing errors, the rule is we owe you a burrito if you find a spelling error or a grammatical error in the document. But we'll be publishing, we've only published a few versions of this for tonight's meeting. This is still a draft, but we will be sending it out in the next week or so to have a large number of them printed, and we'll be starting to distribute those through libraries, social organizations, community groups, and as well as posting them online and distributing them that way.
Okay, very good, Patrick. Thank you for walking us through that. If any director would like to make a comment or ask a question, please click on the raise hand button to indicate that you'd like to speak. And yeah, I'll just start. I think you covered it. I was going to ask about, and of course, people can access it via our website, right?
Yeah, we'll be once we finalize it in the next few days, we'll be posting it online.
Yeah, I love seeing this report every year. It never ceases to amaze me, everything that we do, that the staff is able to accomplish every year. It's just, we go from month to month in these board meetings, but when you see everything compiled all in one spot about all that the staff has done, just truly remarkable. So, and including the actual preparation of the actual report, a ton of work goes into that. So thank you, Patrick, and thank you to everyone who was involved in the preparation of the report.
I am remiss, Rob. I'm sorry to interrupt. I do this every year. I get so busy talking, I forget the most important thing. And I really want to throw a lot of kudos out to Adriana for all the hard work that she did. She is our editor-in-chief. She's our cat herder, getting all the managers and the staff and the supervisors to, write their sections of this report. And she does, as we've always known, take a lot of pride in the fact that this is all the editing work, the entire production of this, with the exception of printing, is all done in-house. And Adriana really deserves a huge debt of gratitude, because every year, and of course this is passed on from other staff that have done this, but this job is a big one and she really relishes it. But I can tell you how hard it is. She's in my office a lot saying, hey, I haven't heard from this person, So she really puts a lot of work and pride into this. So I want to give a big shout.
And how many years now has she put it together, roughly?
Oh, Ray, you might know. I think this is her fourth
She's
year.
done it. She did it 1 year, and then someone else did it, and then she's done, I believe, the last 3 years.
That's what I was thinking. But either way, 3 or 4. And you know what? Each year we see it get a little bit better every year. So thank you, Adriana, and everyone else who participated. I don't see any board of director hands up. Is there any member of the public that has indicated they wish to speak on this item?
No public comment.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then to the board, the challenge is on. Find an error, and Patrick owes you a burrito. All right, you got witnesses. Okay, we'll go on to item number 9, and that is the 2019-2020 Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority social media campaign. And we're getting a report from Jana. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Jana Falk, the recycling coordinator, and tonight I'm going to give you a little brief update on our social media outreach. Last year, we had 3 main digital outreach components. We had a website update, did social media, and digital ads. We completely revamped the look of a website and are continuing to update and refresh all of the internal pages. Remained active on social media, and we've ran digital advertising to direct customers to get to our pager events. So as you can see on the website analytics, our website has been overall with an uptick in use. Some of that is from COVID, but there's also a little bit of analytics here on who our customers are. using the website. Most of the users are female and under 35. And additionally, most of the hits on our website are from searches on platforms such as Google. And our viewership is increasingly using mobile devices. So we're almost at 56% of viewers on a phone. Next. Our main campaigns across all media this year, we had a customer appreciation event at Sun Street. We partnered with KDON, had DJ Showbiz playing music. We hosted a compost workshop and had a guest hosted rain barrel workshop. We gave out ice cream and travel coffee mugs and had raffle prizes. While that wasn't necessarily a social media item, we did promote it via social media. Tire Amnesty is always a big campaign and customer favorite. We promoted holiday tree recycling across all platforms and Vision's offer of coupons for mulch when you dropped off a tree. And then primarily running on radio, we did a SVR Cares campaign and showed how we give back to the community through our fiscal responsibility, our support of community through things like the food bank, healthy soils, and the environment. And we try to tie in the SVR Cares messaging in any of the social media that we can. And then for Earth Day, we ran an I Recycle Because campaign. I'll talk more about that in a moment. We promoted our services and community events, as well as important or interesting information that we shared on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So here are some statistics from Facebook. We have over 1,000 followers, and our average post is seen by about 250 people. We're constantly trying to increase this reach and provide relevant information to our community. Instagram and Twitter don't have the same analytics that Facebook offers. So while we do get engagement and interest on those platforms, I will focus mostly on Facebook for this presentation for both time and simplicity. Now, I'll go through some of the top posts this year. Next. So our top reached post was for the survey about Sun Street. The responses from the survey were shared at the February board meeting. This was a boosted post and we pinned it at the top of our page for a while, and it helped direct 150 people towards the survey, as we know that's how many people clicked on it. Next. Our most shared post was during the beginning of COVID, when we posted about our everyday heroes and how hard everybody is working on site to keep the people that come to our site safe and the flow of materials going. Next. And as with everything this year, Earth Day was different. We didn't get to celebrate as we typically do. We did a campaign to get engagement with public about why they recycle. And we started that a while before Earth Day. We got a few people to play and lots of likes, but not the impact we had hoped. But nonetheless, we're moving forward with the intentions of the first Earth Day protest 50 years later, still striving to remind our customers that every day is in fact Earth Day. Next. Tire Amnesty posts, always a popular event in the community, and it gains a lot of engagement every time they're posted. This is one example. Next. As discussed earlier, we have been sharing some information about COVID-related topics to customers, and that, you know, it needs to be recycled, but I'll take back the note and add some more information about PPE in our social media content. Next. One of the fastest shared and liked posts we've ever seen, basically as soon as we posted it, it was being shared and liked, was Mary Ellen's farewell post. She will definitely be missed around for the community here. Next. Here's just a little sample of what Twitter provides for its analytics, but they only give 31-day increments, and it'd be a lot to kind of try to compile what we get off of theirs. But they typically have about 1,000 impressions as well, same as Facebook, and an impression is the number of screens that the tweet appeared on. We typically have less engagement on Twitter. In terms of engagement is likes and loves and comments, but as mentioned, we do have a decent engagement in Instagram, which would be similar to Facebook, but because of the lack of analytics, I'm not sharing those posts tonight, but they're very similar posts to what we post on Facebook. Next. So beyond social media, we do promote Salinas Valley Recycle services and locations through digital marketing campaign. Our main goals this year were to promote a positive image, build upon local support, increase awareness of all of our facilities, especially Johnson Canyon open on Sundays and Halone Road, and then to promote organics in preparation for new regulations for SB 1383 and the completion of our compost facility, and to promote What Goes Where application and website, and then generally promote proper recycling and waste diversion in the community. Next. So just a little highlight on some of the digital media buys. Last year, we aired over 1,000 spots of PSA's public announcements on Spanish broadcast TV. On various page digital ads for tire amnesty, tire recycling, and COVID related ads ran across lots of different platforms and resulted in over 2 million impressions. And again, that impression is number of screens that it appeared on. So due to the high cost and dwindling viewership in broadcast TV in English, we've switched to streaming ads, which are streaming services like watching on YouTube or something, which resulted in over 1,000 hours of our commercials being watched. And so that's a benefit of the streaming ads, because unlike TV, you actually get to know how many people watch them. And because we can set parameters like geofencing locations, we know that the people that watch those commercials were actually in our area at the time of viewing. Next. Additionally, we ran over 2,000 radio spots and newspaper ads, including 4 editorials in the Herald with full page ads in the quarterly ag inserts. And we did 4 press releases. And then additionally, our Dear Wally articles are posted on our website and highlighted on the homepage when they're published. And not on this slide, but also we do a mostly monthly newsletter, which hopefully all of you are receiving. Next. And then lastly, I wanted to share that even with COVID putting an end to in-person school and business outreach back in March, we still managed to get in 150 outreach events in that 8-month time period. So our resource recovery team has been very busy, and we're continuing to be very busy now converting the in-person outreach to digital format, so we can continue our robust outreach while we can't all be together in person. Next. So thank you, and I'm available for questions. And if you're not already following us on social media, please do.
Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. And boy, busy, that's an understatement. That's amazing. That number of events in that short period of time, that's a geez, great indicator of how busy you guys are, but also the number of people that are reached. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love the fact that you reach one person and they tell 2 or 3 people. So the reach goes beyond just those initial folks, and whether they're seeing stuff via social media or there's a cross relationship on social media to in-person events. That's pretty cool. And then it was nice earlier that some feedback was provided on some ideas on social media. And I imagine that will create some interaction as well. It is a struggle on social media to create content that is of interest to people, and that will cause or lead to some type of interaction. And for the board members, if you have not already, and if you are on one of those social media platforms, please like or follow the page and comment or just like posts and things like that. When you do that, obviously that helps spread the word, and so everyone benefits from it. If any board director would like to make a comment, please go ahead and click on the raise hand button. While we're waiting for that, has anyone from the public indicated they would like to speak?
No, no public comment.
Okay, then Jana, to you and to everyone else that's been involved in all of these efforts, on behalf of the board, thank you, and we recognize all the hard work that everyone does. So thank you again. All right, we'll go on to consideration item number 10, which is the discussion regarding the fire debris management, and we're going to receive a report from Patrick, please. You're muted, Patrick.
I'm sorry. Thank you. So as y'all know, with the fires we had recently, though we're not nearly as impacted as other agencies may be, where they had far more structural damage, like Santa Cruz County and some of the northern counties. There's still a lot of preparation going on relative to cleanups of damaged structures and property. Environmental health has been leading this charge, so we've been having regular discussions and conversations with them. So they're working on, really the first couple phases of cleanup, which is doing hazard assessment, removal, testing of ash, really trying to make sure that before contractors or homeowners go in and start to actually remove that material that has been deemed safe enough to be sent to a landfill. So we are coordinating with them, as is Monterey Regional, for the debris they'll be receiving from the fires in their district, coordinating that plan for, how does a homeowner go from having damage to cleaning that up and bringing it to us. So Cesar and I are working on some receiving policies and practices, though it probably may still be another month or so before we see it, because these assessment crews from Environmental Health and the Department of Toxic Substances Control up in Sacramento, we understand they're starting in Santa Cruz County because there's so much more extensive property damage up there. So it may be a while till they get down here and start doing the assessments and clearing material for us to receive. So with that little background, there was a brief discussion about it during the executive committee, and some discussions around whether the authority should consider providing discounts or waiver of fees for disaster debris. And I think that the general gist of it was, of course, most people are probably insured. It's an insured cost, and therefore, we wouldn't be providing a discount. But there may likely be a subgroup of property damage, uninsured or otherwise unrecoverable for some reason, that may be coming at us. And does the board want to consider some kind of a discount or a fee waiver for that should it come? So with that, I'd actually like to turn it over to Authority Attorney Roy Santos, who has done a little background work on behalf of the executive committee to sort of outline what can and can't be done, and what the concerns might be about providing that kind of a waiver to uninsured owners. Roy?
Thank you, Patrick. President Collin, members of the board. So the kind of main issues anytime a public agency such as the authority is looking to provide a discounted rate or a special benefit to a certain individual or members of a category of individuals, the first issue that we always have to look at is the prohibition of a gift of public funds. In this case, I think there's a factual basis and a factual basis supporting the argument that providing a discounted rate would not constitute a gift of public funds, because doing so provides a tremendous public benefit, including the encouragement of safe and healthy removal of dangerous materials that have built up as a result of these horrible fires. So I think there's a strong argument there that can be made regarding the public benefit to providing a discounted rate. Then the second issue that we always have to consider when providing a discounted rate is the general rule or the general requirement that when we provide a discounted rate, that discount has to be compensated. And what that means is if we provide a discounted rate for a category of people, the difference between our normal rate and the discounted rate must be paid by the authority out of authority general funds in order to ensure that we maintain a consistent fee structure pursuant to our rate studies that go into the fees that the board has already approved, and ensuring that those are in compliance with the the propositions mandated by the state regarding, rates and costs being reasonably proportionate to the services being provided. So the general rule is if we do provide a discounted rate, like such as a discounted rate for uninsured individuals, the authority would have to cover the difference between our normal rate and our general rate. And those are really the main concerns when providing a discounted rate. The last concern is when we're making a differential rate, and we're selecting a category of people to provide a special rate to. We have to have a reasonable basis to provide that rate. So the board, if it so chooses to provide a discounted rate for uninsured individuals, we would just have to make specific factual findings at the time the resolution is adopted, creating that discounted rate, establishing the reasonable basis for this discounted rate for that category of individuals. And those are the main concerns and main issues that the board, legal issues the board should consider in determining whether such a discount is appropriate at this time. And if the board has any questions or concerns, I'm definitely here to answer those.
Okay, thank you, Roy, and thank you, Patrick, for that presentation and that information. Most of the board members know that I own an insurance and financial services agency. So with my insurance professional hat on, it would be my suggestion that we do not provide discounted rates, with the primary reason being that a standard homeowners policy does provide for coverage for debris removal. But with that being said, the way that this item is on the agenda tonight is to provide input and direction. And so we're not going to make any decisions tonight. Rather, what I'm going to do is open it up to director comment. And if anyone would like to see this brought back at our next board meeting to take action on, this would be the time to provide those comments, as well as I know a lot was just thrown at us. So if you have any questions for Roy or Patrick to clarify the issue, we'll do that. And again, you can indicate whether you want to ask a question or whether you want to provide direction to bring this item back at our next board meeting by clicking the raise hand button. And I do see that Director Phillips has raised his hand. So Director Phillips, you're on.
Now, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Chair. I know, this is a tough time for everybody, but I know that the county has extended the fact that on our, we're waiving the building permits for the people to rebuild, and trying to figure out who's coming in with what, and if it's connected with the fires. I think that's a big burden, and I wouldn't think the cost would be that great to the people compared to the other aspects of it. And then you talk about, you got to check and see if they have insurance, because we have different regulations of people who have insurance and don't. So I tend to agree with your assessment on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Phillips. I don't see any other board hands up. Is there any members of the public that wanted to speak?
No members from the public.
Okay, and I see Director Lopez's hand is up. Go ahead, and Director Lopez.
I just wanted to thank staff for looking into this. I was the one who raised the issue, and after listening to President Collin talk about his experience as a insurance professional, I think I'm more comfortable with sort of the direction staff has come up with. But I do appreciate the due diligence of looking into it to make sure that should the need arise, perhaps we can be there for a community member who might end up in a different situation. But I just really want to say thank you to staff for looking into this. I know our community is going through a lot, and any way we can find a way to help is always appreciated. And again, just thanks for taking the time to consider.
Thank you, Director Lopez. I also want to add that my comments, I don't want to come across as being crass and insensitive to what our constituents are going through. Rather, the way that I look at it is that if we're looking at waiving or reducing fees. And if all that means is that we're saving insurance companies money and reducing money that comes into the authority, or in the example that Director Phillips gave, less revenue coming into the city, we need to all be careful about the various decisions that we're making related to this and make sure that we're not needlessly reducing revenue when it could come from a source like insurance. So I don't see any other hands up, and I don't see a request to bring this back to the board. So I appreciate again, and thank you for the research and the summary, Roy and Patrick. And on that note, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda, which is item number 11, an update on the Sun Street Transfer Station relocation project. And I'll turn it over to Patrick, please.
You're muted again, Patrick.
This will be the quickest item of the night, so I think Rob will talk a little bit about some of the things going on in the next item. But we have not received any word back from Republic yet regarding their consulting needs study, which was really something that they have indicated to us now that they need to complete before they can consider providing any kind of an offer to us relative to a long-term lease of the property. I have started to reach out to some real estate agents just to survey the market to see if there is any other feasible facilities or buildings coming onto the market. Haven't received any feedback yet, but because of COVID and other things, I'm thinking there may be some potential property opportunities down the road. So we'll keep looking for a fallback option as well. But at this point, the only thing I've done at this point is with the South Valley City Managers invited me and have been regularly inviting me to talk about the status of the project and the city of Withdrawal. We had a meeting last week. Unfortunately, City Manager Corpus was not able to attend, but at that meeting we did distribute the project plan as well as a summary of what that proposed project could be, at least as staff had originally proposed it after our early discussions with Republic. We discussed that a little bit as well as some other items, and they've asked that I continue to keep them informed periodically during those meetings on both these agenda items. But outside of that, no additional information to provide on the relocation project.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. And my comments are more appropriate for the next item, so I do not have any comments on this item. If any director would like to ask a question or provide a comment, please click the raise hand button. And while we're waiting for that, has any members of the public indicated they wish to speak on this item?
No members from the public.
Okay, and seeing no director hands up, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item, which is item number 12, an update on the City of Salinas 1-year notice of intent to withdraw from the joint powers agreement with the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority. This item is also quick, and I will let everyone know that we have a meeting. I don't know if I should call it tentative. I think it's pretty well firmed up, hopefully, but we have a meeting between the authority and City of Salinas scheduled for September 25th. And so I hope that at the exec board meeting and then the full board meeting that we'll have more of an update on that. So I think that's the only comment I want to add tonight. Patrick, was there anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, and it's just informational. So the city staff did reach out to Mandy and I about doing a SB 1383 presentation at the city's study session on September 29th. And we were informed at the same time that the city was planning on having R3 to provide some form of an update on the study or solid waste. Wasn't clear, but just some kind of an update. So subsequent to that and our back and forth emails with city staff, I guess it was decided that they were not going to bring back the R3 study at the study session or the SB 1383 presentation, but they would instead be scheduling those things concurrently during one of the city council's October meetings. So we've asked the city if they would share with us the any of the presentation materials, if the R3 study is going to actually be released. Our only request is we would see that information early enough so that we have adequate time to read it and have some response time to it. And so that's our only request at this point. If that in fact is what R3 will be doing, is releasing that study finally. So that's just a little update on our side with city staff.
Rob,
Thank
would
you.
you like me to give?
Yeah,
city
just a second. Thank you, Patrick. And on that note, I just wanted to add really quick, and I apologize for interrupting you, Director Cremines, but I just wanted to add really quick that tagging on to that, just a message to the Salinas directors to please keep us in mind that we want to be participants in this process and to have advance notice and advance information so that we can spend time digesting that and provide more educated comments. Just please keep that in mind. So yes, Director Cremines, please.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate that, yes, I do have you on my schedule for the 25th. If this is coming to City Council in October, it would be the last City Council meeting, but I suspect it will be the first one in November, just so that you're aware. I'm not going to let it come without us having adequate, meaning this board, adequate notification. So if it shows up on my list, I will defer it 2 weeks for us to be able to digest it.
Cool. I appreciate that. If any of other director would like to make a comment or question, if you could click the raise hand button to indicate that you'd like to speak. And as usual, do we have any public members that would like to comment on this?
No public comment.
Okay, and then see no directors who have raised their hand. We are done with that item. So we're going to go to the future agenda items. And if we could pull up, we got it there, the view ahead schedule. Patrick, you want to add any comments on this?
No, we hopefully we'll have the update on Gloria Iverson. We'll have enough, they'll be far enough along, they'll be able to take some nice pictures and show you what fresh asphalt looks like and have a little more information on it. But they, as Cesar said earlier, they're making great progress. So we're planning to try to do an update, if not in October, definitely in November. But right now they're on schedule to have at least the paving done the first week in October. So that's great news. Of course, we'll have the audit. Very excited, but I won't steal any more Ray's thunder. But Ray and his staff working very hard. Of course, and we'll have continued updates on the two items related to relocation and the city's withdrawal. My evaluation, the process will start in October with the distribution of the evaluations. So we'll talk a little bit about that in closed session, and hopefully we'll have something to talk about regarding the real property and relocation project. So pretty straightforward meeting, normal October items.
Okay, good. Thank you, Patrick. Any board members have any questions or comments? And if not, I will end the meeting on a very exciting, I have breaking, amazing news that Drew Tipton has earned a burrito. He found an error on the report.
It wasn't a typo.
Yeah, that is correct. And I will say that I do not believe, in all likelihood, that it was. I do not think it was Adriana's fault. There was a wrong backup member listed for Greenfield. So, congratulations, Drew. Eagle eyes, you won a burrito.
Woohoo!
At the restaurant of your choice.
Oh, now that could be tempting.
Hey, notice he didn't give any geographic parameters. I've heard
Well,
I've heard
it's-
that there's a good burrito place in Paris. I don't know.
And
Name.
then now there has to be in our service area. I gotta-
Okay.
Yeah.
And it
That's a
has
five.
to, it has to come with margaritas too.
All
I mean,
right,
I
but-
guess if Patrick's paying for them out of his pocket, it could be whatever you want it to be.
Hey, yeah. Wherever you want, Drew, man.
I was about to say, there's good burritos in Prague.
Before this conversation digresses further, I want to thank everyone for attending. I wish you health and safety. And at this point, we will stand adjourned at 7:55 p.m. Take care all.
Be
Thank
safe,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.